So this is our Health Sciences Advising Center presentation. We will be going over today what our Advising Center is. We are a resource here to help you. Without our students, we aren't employed, so please come visit us so that I can keep my job. You'll find out what's in a bachelor's degree and the information regarding individualized major requirements. We won't have time for that today, but please meet with our center so that we can talk about it. And we'll go over some course schedules. You'll be able to find that on your My UNLV account today. For our incoming freshmen, you've all been put into classes. For any transfer students, please meet with us so that we can give you course recommendations so that we can make sure the classes you enroll in will be relevant to your program. Our advising center has 3 schools at UNLV that we help to advise. The first one is the School of Nursing, and it's our most popular major. So a lot of our students do fall under this school. We also have the School of Integrated Health Sciences with kinesiology, nutrition, comprehensive medical imaging, and health physics. And then we also have the School of Public Health with healthcare administration and public health. Even though our advising center oversees all of these majors, all of the majors also have different requirements. So for that, please make sure that you're meeting with us. What's advised for nursing, if your friends in nursing, may not look the same as kinesiology. So we always recommend you meet with us at least once a semester to make sure that we are following our major requirements and only taking classes that we need. These are our lovely team of advisors. So we do have our director and associate director, 2 different senior academic advisors. Our retention progression coordinator, Jaime Carbajal, is for making sure our students come back from year to year, and that if they have any issues or they need any assistance, he's our go-to person for that. And then we have 5 academic advisors. We also have a 6th one, Melissa Solis, that was recently hired. So if you don't see Melissa here, you'll see her shining face when you come to our office. And then we do have 2 amazing administrative assistants that help coordinate and keep our office running. So this is our great team, and stop by and say hi to us. So for academic advising, it's a bit different. We'll just kind of go over briefly what it is here from counseling versus academic planning, campus connections, and making sure we graduate. So it's different from academic counseling because with counseling, it's kind of, a give and take relationship. You are getting more prescribed what to take, whereas with academic advising, we're recommending you what to take. You don't have to take our recommendations. However, we are recommending these classes to make sure that we're maintaining good course progression for completing our major. If we recommend you take Math 124 in your first semester, you don't have to if you don't want to. However, you do need to take the ownership if you decide not to enroll in that class. So that's how advising and counseling is different. We're here to have a conversation with you and to give you recommendations. Academic planning is to make sure that we're keeping track of the course prereqs that we have. If we are taking Bio 189, then we know that can be used for our Anatomy 2 requirement, and that we're keeping those course progressions and the order we want to take our classes in mind to make sure that we can have a full-time semester every semester up until graduation. Building campus connections and referring to allies on campus, I'm going to group those together. So you can come to us. We're a great resource for you. Even if it's not relating to your academic program, you can always come talk to us and say, hey, I want to get more involved on campus. How can I do that? We'll be happy to refer you. You can just send us an email if you don't want to make an appointment. And same with referring to allies on campus. If you come to us and you say, hey, I'm struggling in my classes, I'm going through, X, Y, and Z right now in my personal life, we're more than happy to see what your options would be for making sure your academics stay on track despite any circumstances you've got going on. And that if there's anyone on campus, such as the Counseling and Psychological Resources Center or the center on campus for used to be called the Women's Center, I believe, for the Gene Nidich Women's Center. Now I believe they go by the center. So we can refer you to those allies on campus to make sure that you're getting connected with those resources that you need. And then we're also here to help make sure you graduate in 4 years. Now with that, I'm going to add a little asterisk because we may not all graduate in 4 years, and that's okay. If we hit some, bumps along the way, say we have a hard time with biology, and that's a prereq for classes we'll take later on, we can always come up with that plan. It's okay if it takes longer than 4 years. I have a friend personally who was at UNLV, changed his major a few times, and took like 6 or 7 years to graduate. Now he's making pretty good money. So it's not getting it done in 4 years. You want to make sure that you're learning so that you can apply what you learn once you get into your field of choice. Our services, we do have 1 hour individual appointments. Typically our appointments might last 10 to 20 minutes. However, the full hour is there for you. So if you have questions, please come to us. We do have open advising, and you'll see when those hours are during the presentation, but they are Tuesdays from 1 to 4 and Wednesdays from 8 to 11 and 1 to 4 p.m. as well. And you can either stop by our office or call in to be added to a remote advising queue. We also have freshman group advising because when you're in your first year, it's a bit easier to kind of give you broad strokes advising, making sure that you're hitting those benchmarks we want you to in the first year by completing your math, English, and any prereq courses. If you're in the honors program, we can also do honors joint advising. I'm more than happy to work with your honors advisor and make sure that we're meeting our requirements for both the program and for the honors program. If you need any signatures for petitions, academic forms, anything like that, you can always meet with us and we'll be happy to reach out to you. For our Military and Veteran Services Center, or for our military students, we do have the Military and Veteran Services Center, and they can help with your military forms as well. And a lot of those forms are now done virtually, so we don't need physical papers for them. So please meet with us or the Military Veteran Services Center if that applies to you. And then email outreach. If, say, we have a rough semester and our GPA is not looking that good, you may get contacted by our RPC coordinator, Jaime Carbajal, just so that we can connect you with those resources if you need any and make sure that we are progressing towards our degree, even if we hit those speed bumps along the way. Our appointment options are in person, over the phone, via email, or virtual via Zoom or WebEx. And we do recommend that you meet with us at least once a semester. Like I said before, our appointments are 1 hour long. You may not need the full appointment time. However, it is there for you. So don't be afraid if you're not understanding something and you want to really make sure you understand it by the time your appointment's done. The full hour is there for you. When you're communicating with our advising center, please leave your name and NSHE ID with any voicemails. It's going to make it easier for us to follow up with you and get the information that we need to help answer your questions if we have your name and NSHE. Because if you have a bad phone connection, if you're mumbling or anything like that when you say your name, we may not know how to get back to you. It's hard for us to just find your information by your phone number, but with your name and NSHE ID, we can find that quickly, and that'll help us resolve your issues faster. And for any email messages, emails are not texts. So it's great if when you're talking with your friends on your phone, you want to use LOL, LMFAO, all the good abbreviations. However, when you're communicating with our advising center, please keep it as a working relationship. We are here to help you. We're not here to be your friends. If you end up getting along with any of our advisors, that's great. You can always request to meet with them and develop that relationship. However, we're here to help offer you support. So kind of leave those abbreviations on your phone, and your emails, approach it like you're making a rough draft for your English 101 class. And then use your Rebel email for all your university correspondence, including your name and NSHE ID as well. If you try to use, say, your personal Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail, whatever account when communicating with a university official, they may not respond. So it's only going to be the Rebel mail that will be a guaranteed kind of response rate. just because that is the official university communications. And so that's kind of an overview of our center. Now we'll go over the general education requirements for your degrees. The major core and the electives we won't touch on today. However, you can always meet with us and we'll be more than happy to make sure we're explaining that to you. And so this is an example of a degree worksheet. This one is for kinesiology, and it does list all the required courses for your major. So right now we've got the general education requirements kind of boxed off, and we'll be going over those. However, in addition to those general education requirements will be any major requirements for your program that we do need to complete as we are going through our time at UNLV. Those general education requirements are divided up into different categories, and some examples of those would be humanities, which could be any foreign language, any history class, comm, philosophy, or English class. Any fine arts requirements could be music classes, dance classes, art classes, or film classes. And for the social sciences, psychology, sociology, public health, and counseling and family therapy are those 4 course codes there, and they can also count for the social sciences. And please note that specific courses will need to be confirmed as meeting a program requirement or general education requirement. So even though comm is falling under the humanities typically, Comm 101 is a humanities class, where Comm 102 is a social sciences class. So there are those kind of weird little nuances of the way the courses apply to your gen eds. So please, if you ever have any questions, you can always email an advisor and just say, hey, I want to take this class for this requirement. Is that going to satisfy what I want it to? And we'll be more than happy to confirm that. And you can also Google the UNLV course catalog, and you'll be able to search any classes there by the course code, or you could type in a keyword like humanities or social sciences, and the course catalog will bring up any information about that class and what requirements it meets, as well as a description. So these are the kind of general education requirements. We do have a first and second year seminar requirement for all of our students. The first year seminar requirement we recommend to our first year students is HSC 100. It is kind of the one we recommend to our students because it's a more health science focused course. And then the ones we recommend for our second year seminar are English 231, 232, or Public Health 205. Public Health 205 is Introduction to Public Health. So we recommend that to most of our students as it gives a good lens to view your health sciences major through. So if you're a nursing major, how that applies to public health can be another way to kind of consider it. For English 231 and English 232, those classes are more literature reading focused, and they're kind of covering the literature of great works throughout the course of human history. So I believe English 231 is up until the 1700s, and then I believe 232 is 1700s to modern day. So if you're interested in that, we can also use that for our second year seminar. And if you're a transfer student and you have 30 or more credits, then the first year seminar will be waived. If you're transferring in with 60 or more credits, then both your first and second year seminars will be waived. We also have English 101 and English 102. These are required courses, and we do recommend you take them in your first year, as those writing and reading skills are going to be something that you can use for all your classes while you're going throughout your program at UNLV. And these classes are also important because they help you kind of learn the more formal writing structure that you'll be using once you are creating cover letters, resumes, and applying for jobs. These classes can start to give you those skills to market yourself and know how to present your message to your audience. So we definitely recommend completing these classes early and trying to get the most out of them. The U.S. and Nevada Constitution course, for that, we do have Political Science 101 or History 100. Those are 4-credit classes, and if we take either of those on its own, it'll satisfy both the US and the Nevada Constitution requirements. If, for whatever reason, we wanted to break those requirements up, then we could take History 101, Urban Studies 241 for the US Nevada Constitution requirement, and then we could take Political Science 100 for the Nevada Constitution requirement. So we do have some options here. So even though we've got Political Science 101 and History 100 listed, if you want to change it up a little bit, you can always talk to us about doing so. For math, we do ask that you adhere to the math requirements for your major. Each of our majors may have slightly different math requirements. So the lowest math all of our majors use is Math 124. However, for any comprehensive medical imaging students, you'll need to take Math 126 and Math 127 as your math requirements. And for our health physics students, they need Math 181 and Math 182. So if your major requires a slightly higher math class and you're not sure, if you can test in that class or how to get into that one and take, just the math class you need, more than happy to meet with us and answer any of those questions. For humanities, one thing to note is that these all need to be from different disciplines. So you wouldn't be able to take Spanish 113 and Spanish 114 to satisfy your 2 humanities requirements. They would need to be from different disciplines. And for that, we can use History 101, Philosophy 101, Communications 101, Foreign Languages, and there's other options as well. So we do have a variety here that we can pick from. For the fine arts, it is appreciation-based, so it's not performance-based. So if you've taken a singing class before, that's great. Everyone needs a hobby. Love singing myself. However, that's not going to satisfy this requirement. The common courses that we see used here are Art 101, Theater 100, Dance 101, and Music 121. For the social sciences, just like with the humanities, it needs to come from different disciplines. So for some of our majors, such as kinesiology and nursing, Psychology 101 is a required course. Sociology 101 is also required for the nursing majors. However, we can pull from any of the other social sciences, and just like with humanities, we do have a variety of options here, such as Public Health 165, Women's Studies 101 or 113, and Anthropology 101. For the multicultural and international classes, we do have these as part of our general education requirements so that our students are going to be prepared to work in a multicultural world once they graduate and are able to get a job in the global society we live in today. And for these, we can take a double dipper course, and we'll go over that shortly. And for those double dippers, it would satisfy either our humanities, fine arts, or social science requirement and the multicultural or international. The only classes that we can double dip requirements for are with the multicultural and international. We would not be able to take a humanities and a social science as one class, let's say. For those double dippers, like I just said, it's either an international course and a humanities, fine arts, or social science. And for the multicultural, same thing. It's the multicultural class and a humanities or fine arts or social science. And any of those classes will satisfy 2 requirements, and you only need to take it once. Some common examples for those double dippers that fall under the international course requirement. For the humanities, any foreign language except for Latin. We can also look at History 103 or History 209, and Philosophy 124 or 225. For the fine arts, we can look at Theater 100, which is, let me see, Introduction to Theater. It's not a class we need to do acting in. It's more looking at plays from different societies and cultures and kind of having that appreciation for them. And Art 261 is Art History 2. For History 103 or History 209, those are global problems in historical perspectives and history of and world history 2. Philosophy 124 or 225 is Indian traditions and, philosophical traditions of Asia. For the social sciences, we do have Econ 190, which is the global economics, LAS 101, which is Latin American studies, and political science 211 or 231 are comparative politics classes. For your major, there also may be classes we have built into your program that satisfy the international or multicultural as well. For example, with nutrition majors, we do have Nutrition 301, and public health majors, we have Public Health 330, and those will satisfy your international requirements as well as a major requirement. For multicultural, for the humanities, we have History 110, which is History of Multiculturalism in America, and English 290, which is Introduction to African American Literature. For the fine arts, we have Dance 166, African American Dance, Music 121, Music Appreciation, and Music 134, Jazz Appreciation. For the social sciences, we have Women's Studies 101 or 113, and that is Introduction to Women's Studies for 101, and 113 is Gender, Race, and Class. For the social sciences, we also have AAS 101, which is Introduction to African American Studies, and Econ 180, Economics of Discrimination. For public health majors, you can take Public Health 200 for both the major requirement and your multicultural requirements. For nursing 299 would satisfy both the major and the multicultural, and healthcare administration would be HCA 203. And we did talk a little bit about the first year seminar courses, and if you would like to take that before the fall semester starts, we do have a pre-fall introduction to academia and scholarships with the HSC 100 course. And this would start on August 1st and go until August 25th. It would count towards your fall 22 course schedule. So that would be 2 credits off your schedule for fall, but would still count towards your financial aid and full-time status. And it does qualify for the financial aid. And if you want more information on that, you can give our advising center a call at 702-895-5448, or you could email us at dhsadvising@unlv.edu. For your placement tests, we do have the ACT or SAT scores, if you've sent those in, that we can use to place you into math and English. We also have university placement test for the English placement, and we have the ALEX placement test for math. If you haven't sent us any ACT, SAT scores or taken the English placement exam, then you're going to be in these 3 classes at the bottom of this slide. English 101, English 100L, and English 105L. And those 3 classes together would be 5 credits, but they would satisfy the English 101 requirement. And so if you don't want to take those more foundational courses, and the 100L, 105L are reading and writing support labs for English 101, then we can either send in our placement tests or take the UNLV English placement test. If we do take those tests, then these are the scores we would need to place into English 101, an 18 to a 29 on our ACT, a 480 to 650 on our SAT, or a 9 to an 11 on the UNLV placement test. If we have an ACT score that's a 30 or above, an SAT score that's a 660 or above, or get a 12 or higher on the UNLV placement test, or have an AP score that's a 3 or above, then that would satisfy that would give us the ability to place directly into English 102. For math placement, we would need to have an ACT score of 22 or above for Math 124, an SAT of 530, or an ALEX score of 46 or above. If we need to take Math 126, then ACT of 23 or above, SAT of 550, or an ALEX score of 61. For the Math 127 requirement, our ACT score would need to be a 25 or above, SAT would need to be a 580, or ALEX would need to be a 61 or above, plus a 41 or above on the trigonometry sub-exam for the ALEX. For Math 181, which is Calculus 1, we would need a 28 or above on our ACT, a 650 or above on our SAT, and a ALEC score of 76 or above. Math 124 is college algebra, Math 126 is pre-calculus 1, and Math 127 is pre-calculus 2. If we don't have any test scores coming in for you and you need to start on your math progression, we can take Math 124E and 24B to satisfy the Math 124 requirement. And if math isn't our strongest suit, then this would probably be the options we recommend because they are a bit more foundational courses to help you succeed with math as you go about your time and still finish up that requirement in one semester. If we need to start with pre-calculus, we can also take Math 126E and 26B. And for that, it would still satisfy the Math 126 requirement. And if we are placed into these classes because we don't have placement scores already, we can take that ALEC exam. You can take it up to 3 times. And each time, or after your first attempt, you'll get study modules to help you increase your score and help you place into the math class that you can test into. If you want to get started on math before the fall semester starts, we do have a summer math bridge program through our Academic Success Center's bridge programs. And the last one we have for the summer is going to be from June 27th to July 29th, so 5 weeks long. These classes can help you build community, get kind of your resources and connections going before the fall semester starts, help you get a good foundation for math. They're available online, and they can help improve your math skills and grades, so that way you're jumping in to college with even kind of a head start on maybe some classmates you had in high school before. And for more information on that, you can contact our Academic Success Center at 702-774-4624 or contact them at acsbridge@unlv.edu. Why math though? I mean, it's part of your general educations, but what does completing it in your first year when you're not, happy about math as a subject? Well, if you can complete it in your first year, that helps triple your chance to graduate throughout your program overall. And the reason for that is that math, for those of us who don't like it, unfortunately, it is a prereq for classes we'll need to take for our major. So a lot of our majors may have a statistics requirement, which for that, we would need to take Math 124 at the very least before we could take that stats class. So if we're able to complete math in our first year, it'll help us ensure that we graduate and stay on track throughout our program. And we do recommend that you enroll in math every semester until you've completed the requirement for your major, so that we can make sure we're giving ourselves the best chance to finish up our program and graduate. We do have tutoring available on campus through the Academic Success Center, and we also have additional tutoring centers as well for the sciences, math, the Writing Center, the Language Resource Center, and accounting. So if we need any of these resources, you can always, just Google UNLV tutoring. You can also meet with us, and we'll be happy to kind of hear what classes you need assistance with and help point you in the direction of those resources. For the Academic Success Center's tutoring services, they do have drop-in tutoring available every day of the week, I believe, maybe not Sundays, in the library on the second floor. We do have example 4-year plans for each of our majors. So if you want a kind of example roadmap for your classes and see, what it might look like to graduate in 4 years, you can always meet with us, email us, contact us. We'll be happy to send it your way. But please note, these example 4-year plans are just that. They are an example. You don't need to follow it precisely. And if we're transferring in with any classes already, then, the plan may not necessarily reflect our courses because we already have some of them done. So it's no worries if we need to plug things around, move them around, or kind of modify the 4-year plan. However, we do have these here as an example. Your grades are also important as you're going through your classes. So you're averaged on a 4.0 scale. And for your letter grades, we have on the right an example of what that grading scale looks like. So kind of short notes for this. It's from a 0 to a 4. F is a 0, D is a 1, C is a 2, B is a 3, A is a 4. Any minuses you get in classes would be minus 0.3. Any pluses you get in a class would be plus 0.3. So an A minus would be 0.3 minus 4, so 3.7. A B plus would be 3.0 plus 0.3, so 3.3. And why does that grade calculation matter? Well, if you are in a competitive major, there may be GPA requirements that we need if we need to apply for our full major, such as with comprehensive medical imaging, the nursing program, nutrition program, so on. So we want to make sure that we're keeping an eye on our grades and our GPA to make sure that we're staying in compliance with those requirements that we need to be able to apply to our program. And this can impact our financial aid considerations and job opportunities. So we do need to make sure that we're making satisfactory progress with our classes as we go through, and that if we aren't making those satisfactory progress with our GPA, then we may lose our financial aid and need to apply to get it back. Also, for job opportunities, some jobs may want you to have a higher GPA, and they may ask for that on the resume. So we want to make sure that we're doing our best on our classes so that we can market ourselves our best when we are in the job market. We do have UNLV Creates right before the fall semester starts. Doors open at 8 a.m. and the event itself will begin at 9 a.m. This is kind of a great pep rally to get excited for the start of the new academic year. And this year we will have the authors of Tell Me Who You Are as our keynote speakers. So if you are reading that book this summer for orientation, feel free to come to the event and you might get a chance to meet them or at least hear what they have to say when they're discussing their presentation. And then lastly, this is our advising center. You can find us in building WHA1. That's right behind the Whitehall building, WHI. And we're right next to the Lot O parking lot and the UNLV preschool. So we're kind of on the north side of campus, but if you have any issues finding us or whatever, you can always give us a call if you have questions, need to find our building at 702-895-5448. Our regular hours are 8 a.m. to noon and 1 to 5 p.m. We do have lunch every day from 12 to 1 because you got to eat. And then we do have drop-in hours every Tuesday from 1 to 4 p.m. and Wednesdays from 8 a.m. to 11 and 1 to 4. If you need to contact us via email, you can contact our front desk at dhsadvising@unlv.edu. And we do have our website, healthsciences.unlv.edu. So you can always go there to find information as well. And we're always happy to meet with you and answer any questions you have.